From the darkest corners of the creepy old house down the street to the screams in the night. Settle in, Parafamily, to join with Whitney and Brandon for another spooky episode of the Para-Unity Podcast.
Hello. Good evening, Para family. Welcome back, as always, to the Para-Unity Podcast. I am Brandon.
And I'm Whitney, and we are not quite healthy, but we're getting there.
We're here.
We made it. Thanks, everybody, for your patience from last week. And we've got it together this week, and it's going to be an awesome show. Okay, maybe I've got to give them some optimism, okay?
Yeah, we were trying to have it together.
Yeah, I know. How have you been?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. Great time at Hanover Tavern Paracon back in January with lots of friends of the show from Bedford Paranormal that we had just the previous week or so. And then Steve Dills and a bunch of other wonderful people. And I nearly sold out of all my books.
Nice.
I made money. I made bank.
Have you noticed that everywhere you go, you've been selling out of your books?
Yes.
You did that when you were up here as well.
Yes, I did nearly sell out of my books when I was up in Iowa. Absolutely. Maybe I should just, maybe if I could start selling them on Amazon, that might help.
Nah, everybody just wants to see your bright and shiny face.
Yeah. Of course, if they're listening to us via audio podcast, they can't see it bright and shiny faces.
Has anybody gotten a hold of you yet to ask you why I signed one of your books?
No.
Okay.
I actually wasn't aware that you did. Why did you sign one of my books?
Because I sold one for you when you were out wandering around. And so I go, Whitney's not here, but I'll be happy to sign it for you.
Hey, I'm fine with it. I mean, I've never heard a complaint. So,
okay, because somebody out there has a book of yours that says, sorry, I'm not Whitney, but the book is still good. Thanks for purchasing it.
Hey, I'll take that. That was very, thank you for that. You see that, Parafam? Brandon's got my back.
That's right.
Yes.
So whenever we're together and you buy Whitney's books, I will always be happy to sign them, not Whitney.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, I mean, that might be cool, actually.
I don't know.
Maybe we should write a book together.
Oh, God, that would be a hot
That would be nuts. Well, never say never. Anyway.
All right, let's get on task here.
We are so off the rail. Okay, but we're not that badly off the rails. However, we do have two amazing guests with us tonight. They are Dave and Matt from Chicago Paranormal Investigators, and I can't wait to hear all about Chicago and how these gentlemen operate and their team. Have you been to Chicago?
I've been to Chicago. Yes, I've been to Chicago several times. I go quite often, or at least I try to. Kelly has an obsession with going to Schaumburg so she can go to IKEA and spending far too much money and filling up the vehicles with all the stuff that I have to put together when we get home. I'm personally a big fan of Luminaldi's Pizza. Ooh. And I am scared to say which baseball team from Chicago I usually root for. So let's just say I'm a big Blackhawks fan. We'll just go that way.
I'm fair certain that Matt and Dave will have something to say about that. I don't know.
Whether it's the Cubs or the Sox, I don't know what side of town that they're going to be representing. So why don't we just say that Chicago is one of the largest cities in Illinois and one of the largest cities in the United States with a population of over 2 million people as of the 2020 U.S. Census. So the second city is the international hub for transportation with one of the world's busiest airports, which is O'Hare Airport. I'm sure many people that have traveled have gone through O'Hare. I know I've flown out of there quite a few times. I love that airport personally. They have a really cool underground tunnel that has like rainbow lights that go kind of wavy through.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And you get to do the lazy person treadmill walkway thing on it.
So yeah, where you're like, woo.
Yeah, you're just cruising. Anyways, and it's also the center of the nation's railroad. So if you want culture, commerce, finance, industry, telecommunications, technology, education, blah, 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 everything, Chicago has you covered.
That is so true.
And
oh my
food.
Gosh.
And food.
Yes.
Oh, the food is so good.
My husband is still begging for a real authentic Chicago deep dish pizza.
Oh, he's got to do it. Lou's delivers all around the country. You can order it and they ship it right to your house.
Oh my God, I need to get the link for this. Okay.
I'll send it to you.
Please do. Oh my God, you've heard it here. And Lou's, we're not sponsored by Lou's, but
we should be.
Thank you.
Where's my free pizza?
Anyway. All right. Well, while I'm dreaming about Lou's Pizza, how about I take you on a bit of a history lesson? Because that's what I do. Chicago, the area of Chicago also has a very rich history, starting with indigenous people of the Potawatomi tribe living there as of the mid-18th century. Other tribes in the region included the Miami, the Sauk, and the Fox. In fact, the name of the city Chicago comes from a French rendering of the Miami, Illinois word for a type of wild onion that grows in the area. European explorer Robert de la Salle referred to the area in his writings as early as 1679. And Jean-Baptiste Pointe-Sable is considered the founder of Chicago. He was a trader of African descent who settled in the area in the 1780s. That is so cool. And thank you, Duolingo, for my French.
I think this may be the first time I may have a correct pronunciation for an indigenous culture.
Congratulations. Let's hear it.
I think it's actually pronounced Potawatomi.
Potawatomi. I love you for that. Thank you so much. And
my night is completely made.
Yay. I'm so proud of you. So, Potawatomi. Okay. So during the late 18th and early 19th centuries, the area's indigenous tribes were subjected to treaties and changes with land ownership. The Potawatomi had to cede the land to the U.S. military during the Treaty of Greenville in 1795, which resulted in the construction of the first Fort Dearborn in 1803. In 1816, the Potawatomi and the Ojibwe and Ottawa ceded land to the U.S. in the Treaty of St. Louis. And finally, the Potawatomi were forcibly removed during the 1833 Treaty of Chicago. Wow.
I'm so glad you read that.
Aren't I good at that? Why don't you tell us more about the city? Go for it, Brandon.
The city of Chicago was incorporated in 1837 and became the country's fastest growing city. Mm-hmm. So the railway lines opened in 1848 and the canals allowed steamboats to connect from the Great Lakes to the Mississippi River. Manufacturing, retail, and finance boomed, which brought immigrants from other countries and people from rural areas to the city. As a result, Chicago worked on improving its infrastructure as early as the 1850s with the first comprehensive sewage system in the United States.
Wow.
Chicago was the first city to have a skyscraper built in 1885, built of steel, and after the Great Chicago Fire of 1871. Whew. Yeah, I told you they have everything going on here.
They do, and including a very awesome World's Columbian Exposition of 1893. Chicago hosted it, and it drew 27.5 million visitors from all over the world. And there were a lot of innovations that were exhibited at this fair too. So I think it was also a place where the ice cream cone was first shown or something like that. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Well, also the African-American population in Chicago increased greatly during the 20th century. From 1910 to 1930, the Great Migration brought more art, music, and literature as a form of a Chicago Black Renaissance. However, racial tensions escalated to the 1919 Chicago race riot and subsequent suffering during the Great Depression. And let's also not forget that big thing that happens in cities, redlining. during the middle of the 20th century. Don't even get me started on redlining. I will be boring you with details. Anyway.
That's okay. Chicago does hold a prominent place in the imaginations of not only true crime buffs, historians, but also those that are interested in very dark periods of history.
Oh, yeah.
So this was ground zero for Prohibition during the 20s, with the likes of Al Capone, Bugs Moran, capturing all the public attention. So the fun part of this is Al Capone actually used to hide out in the town I used to live in Iowa, in Dubuque.
No kidding.
Yeah, so there's actually the hotel there. It's called the Hotel Julian. If you go on the third floor, they have the Al Capone suite, which had a safe that he paid the hotel to put the safe in the wall and hide it behind a photo. So he could, when he'd steal money and stuff, he could hide it in there so no one would find it.
Huh. I wonder if they extended the same luxury to him at Eastern State Penitentiary in his cell.
Probably not.
No.
All right. So, but the St. Valentine's Day Massacre took place here in Chicago in 1929. Everybody knows about that, obviously. And of course, during the 1893 World's Fair, you have the story of H.H. Holmes and the Murder Castle.
Oh, yeah.
And if I remember right, the Myrtle Castle, the Myrtle, Murder Castle, rather, if I remember right, it got torn down.
Yes, so, I believe what happened. I think what's there is
now it's a parking lot of a post office. Yeah, but there's no shortage. Is that the little man?
Yes, my son Preston. Everybody who's poking me with his fencing sword because he can.
He needs to practice.
Oh, he's acing it. Anyway.
Parry, dodge, and thrust.
Let's go back to the hauntings.
All right. So there's no shortage of hauntings and ghosts in the Windy City. So where you may have heard of H.H. Holmes and his victims, obviously there's Resurrection Mary and so many others. So there's a couple that we do want to mention to you, and I'm sure the guys can tell us about a lot more.
Yeah. So, okay, here's a really cool place. First, there's the Museum of Science and Industry, which houses a German U-505 submarine as an exhibit. Apparently, the submarine's commander shot himself in front of his crew during the Second World War, and his ghost remains behind to meet with museum guests. And another spirit at the museum is Clarence Darrow, who was the lawyer who defended Leopold and Loeb. That's great. But Clarence Darrow's ashes were scattered around the Jackson Park Lagoon near the museum, and apparently his apparition is seen on the steps of the museum. And maybe that's what keeps him there.
Maybe. That's a really, really cool museum, just so you know.
That is a really cool museum. Highly recommend.
So another neat place is the legendary Tonic Room in Lincoln Park. It's been a brothel, a speakeasy, an Irish mob hangout since the 1920s. So apparently the legend goes that it was also a secret temple for the Order of the Golden Dawn. Ooh. So this is an order that studies the occult, for those that don't know.
Yeah.
But
so vague. But
so vague.
Secret societies, you know?
Gotta have them. So it's said that former owners found painted occult and Egyptian symbols in the building. And as of 2021, the former Tonic Room is now a coffee bar, music, and arts venue.
It's really cool, guys. I'll try and post some pictures up on our show notes so that way you guys can see it. It's a really neat place.
You know what's even cooler?
Our guest.
Yes. Did she freeze on me? All right. Well, while Whitney's unscrewing herself up here with her frozenness, I am going to bring Matt and Dave on.
I got knocked offline.
You did. That was pretty funny. You were like frozen with your mouth open.
God damn it.
So I brought our friends on, Whitney, while you were frozen in time. I think she froze again.
I think so.
So, anyways, Matt and Dave, how are you guys doing tonight?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're doing great.
So I do need to ask while we're waiting for Whitney.
I'm here.
Are we doing White Sox or are we doing Cubbies?
White Sox.
Blue all the way, buddy. North side. I was yelling that when you were saying that. North Sider.
I saw you getting all excited.
Oh, no. I think I'm just going to keep my mouth shut so that way flies don't fly into it when I freeze
So
again.
Matt, I'm going to break your heart, but
Yeah.
I have bricks from Wrigley at my house.
Oh, what happened? Sox fans throw them through your window?
No, our whole family has always been Cubbies fans, so we've gone to many games. However, I only get to see about 2 Cubs games a year because the only channel I have for Cubs baseball or for Chicago baseball is the White Sox. So I have to watch all the White Sox games, but you better believe like the 2 or 3 times I play the Cubs throughout the year, I'm not doing anything else but watching it.
Oh, nice. But you were dead on with the Blackhawks. That's the safest bet in town.
Exactly. I knew if I said Blackhawks or Bulls or maybe even the Fire, I mean, I was in good shape.
The Bears.
We're not going to go there.
Yeah.
I think I'm fortunate that I just follow basketball.
Well, then you got the Bulls.
Yeah.
Well,
they're nothing to talk about though right now.
Yeah.
So, actually, my household is Boston Celtics.
Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Massachusetts
Yeah.
man in the house. Anyway. Oh boy. So chat is open for anybody who wants to post nice questions and kind comments to our wonderful guests. We even have Ronnie Anderson from Bedford Paranormal on with us right now. So that's cool. Yeah. Oh boy. Okay, I'm gonna try not to freeze. I don't know what happened, but Brandon is free to rag on me all he wants. It's fine. Brandon, take it over.
so I don't care which one of you guys start, but what got you guys interested in the paranormal? What got you started?
You want to go, Matt? You want to start it out?
Yeah, I'll start off. Really, it was watching all the shows. Like, when they all started to pop up, I watched everything that was put out there. And to me, I'm a skeptic. So I'm like, I really need to is there something there? I had to try to figure this thing out. And I got lucky one day. Dave was driving by with our command center, which is an old retired ambulance. And I just asked him what he does. I thought he was like a special police unit. And no, he says I'm a paranormal investigator. So I, looked him up, sent him an email. And I don't know, within about a month or two, I was doing an investigation with him, and I've been with him ever since. But still basically very skeptical. I try to find a logical explanation for what we've come across a few times. Haven't been able to figure it out, but I've kind of been in the trades my whole life. I know a lot about building construction, Chicago fireman, plus I've been in the trades, like I said. So I've been in, I don't even know, thousands of homes. I know what makes the bumps and the creaks and all the other stuff. So I kind of try to get into a house and try to figure that out first, see what's going on.
Which is key. It's good to have.
Yeah.
Very much so. All right, Dave, how about you?
Well, it all started when I was younger. I think I'm a little bit on the sensitive side, you would say. I don't know what gift I have, but as a child, I remember, and as I grew up, I still had this ability, being able to hear muffled conversations, disembodied voices. And I remember even getting my mom coming in the bedroom. I'm like, Mom, I hear these muffled conversations. I don't know what they're trying to say. Of course, she didn't hear it. But as I got older, I would still have that ability. Even now to this day on investigations at times, I have to be kind of in a certain zone, but I could hear disembodied voices. And I know I'm not going nuts because once I got into this, I'm getting them on recordings. So that kind of opened my eyes. But I think becoming the police, I kind of got skeptical, always looking for logical answers, what you need to do. And then I started working where I'm at right now. It's a community college, but the grounds, thousands of bodies, John Doe's, Jane Doe's all over the place. It was an insane asylum. It's called the Chicago State Hospital. And so when I started working here, the Dunning area, the Dunning Institution, When I started working here, you had teachers, security staff, housekeeping, engineers, all having experiences here, which, kind of opened my eyes. But I'm the type that needs to experience it myself to really become a believer. And so I started having personal experiences here, and I actually captured my first EVP here. Asked me, "What are you doing?" And then I was hooked. And then I started buying equipment in 2008, formed a team in 2009, and just went overboard equipment-wise. Well, my wife's ready to kill me. But yeah, so that this place here really opened my eyes. And once I started capturing EVPs, and a lot of it led back to what this place used to be. I knew there was something, and I wanted to document it and do the best I can to try to get some answers.
And there was a lot of Native American on that property as well. When they were building they built a bunch of condos and like a strip mall, and they were digging up bodies. They were finding that they were Native American. They were shut down for a while because of that.
Chicago Fire, Camp Douglas,
yeah,
all over the place. Orphans, people that died from the mental institution and Chicago State Hospital. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on here.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at a picture of it right now. What's it called? The Cook County Insane Asylum and Infirmary.
Yeah, Chicago State Hospitals. It changed names twice, but you could type up the Dunning, Dunning institution, Chicago State Hospital. But it was like its own mini city.
Yep.
Several buildings.
Reed Mental Health too. I think it was. That's what it was when they tore it down. I believe Reed Mental Health.
Yep. Yeah. For anyone who's interested, I did just find a couple things about it because that's what I do. So if anyone is interested in seeing what this place looked like, I'll put it in the show notes. That is really cool. And those campuses are huge. Wow. Mm-hmm. So what have been some of the experiences that you've had on the campus, Dave?
Well, in 2009, it was Christmas Eve, and I had a bunch of equipment already, and I was leaving a Christmas party, a family Christmas party, actually in Schaumburg, not far from your Kia. But anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Medieval times.
Yeah. Right off the Roselle Road there. But so we were coming home from a Christmas party, and my wife, niece was going to sleep over, and she found out I was doing this stuff, and she goes, "Dave, take me somewhere to investigate." I'm like, it's like midnight. Where am I going to go? And then I heard all the stories and stuff at college, and so I stopped home, got a few pieces of equipment like a thermal imaging camera, night vision camera, and some meters, millimeters or whatever. And so I remember going out in the theater. Everything seems to be the theater, no matter where you go.
I told you, Brandon. I told you.
Yeah.
So, I get a voice starting. It says, "What are you doing?" It's really cool because the camera behind me, night vision, caught a ball of light. It wasn't an orb. It was a ball of light that just formed, and then it started coming closer to me, and my digital voice recorder captured the voice that was in front of me, but the camcorder didn't capture it. And it goes, "What are you doing?" And then in a really creepy voice. And I'm talking about the history of the land, the Dunning Institution, the Chicago State Hospital. And that's when it came up and said what it said. And then I got a voice saying, "Get out of here." And went up to the second floor right above the theater and get a voice saying, "They killed me." And it was very, very interesting. And then another thing I saw with my own eyes, in the library area where there's a lot of complaints, I was in the building alone, and there was a couple chains. I wasn't sure what building was unlocked, but there was 2 chains left, so I was going to check the fire doors in there, and it's got this feeling that stopped me in my tracks. I'm like, someone's watching me. I just stopped like I hit a brick wall, and I look up and I see the shadow figure about 3 floors up. It's a pyramid building. And I don't know if it's kid size. Oh, just talking about it, I got a charge. It's either leaning on the railing like this, a kid size or adult bending down, and I'm like, what the hell is that? And of course, I'm trying to think logical, and I'm making sure I'm not casting a shadow by moving my arms. And within seconds, it turned into a mist, and it went up airborne. And that's before I started even investigating, forming a team. And I think I did the Scooby Doo, and they fucking ran out. Ran out of there. That's before I started doing this. But
wow,
that was an eye opener.
I would say so. That's very profound.
Yeah, I'll never forget. It was solid, darker than dark, and I remember leaning on the railings like this, and then it turned into the mist form, and then went airborne, and I ran out of there.
So every firefighter that's listening to this show is going to laugh and love the fact that the police officer said he went out of the building when he got.
Not anymore, but
yeah. I've had my moments too.
Oh, I've got to hear these. Matt, what about you? What's been one of your profound moments?
Like when you talk about the Scooby-Doo moment, there was and really nothing happened. I just had a horrible feeling, which I don't normally get. I'm not sensitive like Dave, and I just said, and we were at the
was that the lake?
Where was the Lake County Prison where Dillinger was held and escaped? So we were investigating there. Actually, we were breaking up for the night, and I go back into this one area, like this whole row of cells, and it's pitch black because that's what we do. And it was Dillinger's cell, and then some other really bad dude. Like he's murdered a ton of people, had nothing to do with Dillinger. But I got back there. There was a camera back there, and I grabbed the camera. I turned around to walk out, and just like my whole body got charged, and I ran out. Like I just came running down the hall, and I'm like, I don't care what I left there. I'm not going back for it. And that was, yeah. I don't know why. I don't know what did it. It's when I first started going on investigation with Dave, like this earlier one that we did on the south side of Chicago in Inglewood.
Not far from where,
I'm like
H.H. Holmes.
Yeah, right down the street from the murder castle. Yeah. We actually caught a really cool full body apparition there on Full Spectrum. But like everybody there is like, like I was crazy because I'm going down in this dirty basement by myself, and like it didn't bother me. Like it's pitch black. I don't know what's down there, but with this one, it was just like, I'm out.
I've had that happen before too. Like you just get that feeling, and you're just like, nope, I'm not going in that room, or I'm not going over there.
Yeah, you got to trust your gut feeling,
Yeah, and I think it was there, which towards the end of the night we got a little slap happy, and which we really don't. We try not to provoke, but when you're investigating a prison, you can't help but get carried away a little bit. So we might have stirred somebody up in there. So I was like, yeah, I'm getting out.
Yeah.
Sometimes when it's like prisons or jails or something like that, or even institutions, sometimes I'll bring my police gear, uniform, nightstick, star, you name it, I'll bring it along. And so, yeah, when we were there, we were acting like we were the new warden. They called Chicago PD to come because they were acting like animals and hitting the cells with the night baton and all kind of stuff. But I tell you, it worked. We got some pretty good EVPs responses.
It does. It really does. So I did the same thing when I was in one of the old prisons. I can't remember which one it was now, but I took a lot of my old police gear with too. And you get in there, and it's like if you're not getting a lot of responses, it's pretty quiet. You just start barking stuff out, man, and it starts popping.
Yeah. I mean, it's something we definitely wouldn't do in a private home. We've investigated so many private homes. It's like provoking. We absolutely do not do it. But when you get into that situation, and gets to the end of the night, you got to play the part a little bit.
I don't think it's necessarily provoking when you're doing that in a jail, because you're almost kind of, I think, at least in my mind, you're making it a little more comfortable for them, because they spent so much time there, and that's what they were used to. That was what they're adjusted to. You're just putting them back into that type of atmosphere. And I could be wrong. I mean,
no, I agree. That's what they're used to. You know, just like we were doing some reenactments. We had the police hat, nightstick, uniform shirts, and that. And you went in, if you want to explain, so you were going to toss the cell, and I misunderstood you.
Oh my God.
Uh-oh.
Do I seriously?
Do I need to put a parental warning on this episode?
Maybe put a trigger warning on this one. But basically we were getting slap happy, and I go into one cell, and I'm gonna, hey, I'm coming in here. I'm gonna toss your cell, and Dave comes from like 3 cells over. He goes, "You're gonna toss their salad."
Yeah, I'm like, and I'm like, there's no salad tossing here, no.
And he goes on this whole. He goes on this whole rant like that about tossing salad. I'm like, no, I said toss his cell.
But yeah,
that is amazing.
I went on a rant, and I said, when I'm around, there's none of this, blah blah blah. And then we get a voice saying, "Is it wrong?"
Yes.
Well, I mean,
I don't know.
it probably happened.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, but what's good is that sometimes we go, say stuff like that, say stuff off color. We actually get EVPs back that are off color as well. So they're right on our same.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, we've had
like the Brumner Mansion not too long ago.
Brumder, exactly. The Brumder. We got an EVP that says we were down. It used to be a brothel, and it was. I think it had linked to Capone. Or some other under Capone. That was his place, and we got an EVP that says, "You want me to jerk you off," or something like that. And
I swear to God, but we were playing the part. We were doing like the brothel kind of reenactment, kind of that adult language atmosphere at that time.
I was like, I was around the corner. I was starting to fall asleep because I was like so tired and nothing was going on. And I'm just kind of like this, leaning against the wall. And I hear, "You want me to jerk you off?" And I go, "What the hell was that?" Did I just hear that?
We were doing a group EVP session, so I played it back. And yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was a group session, all right.
Yeah.
Let's face it, in air humor, we're all teenage boys in air humor.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Did you guys put like dollars out or anything?
Oh my God.
There we did it, but I know other places, like there was a really cool place. Matt didn't get a chance to go. He wasn't on the team yet, but I went a couple times, and part of this made TV was Casa Madrid. It was it was Al Capone's driver. He came from Italy here. He was 19 years old, Rocco di Grazia. And so it was a suburb of Chicago, a little more south, Melrose Park.
Yep.
And so it was like watching Sopranos back in the day. You had the 2 bars, strip joint, underground tunnels, you name it, they had it. And oh my God, that was it was nonstop EVPs and disembodied voices we heard with our own ears. And it was, I stirred the pot there with uniform stuff, knowing that the gangsters probably hate the police. So I know they were raided several times by county, FBI, local police, and they would always go after Rocco di Grazio's money, go after his safe. So, but I swear to you, and I got it recorded, we got, I don't know if they were talking to us. I'm thinking a lot of it's residual, like
Sure.
With the strippers and prostitutes, we got EVPs walking in a room. What do you want tonight? And then suck your blank. I'm not going to say it. Up and down.
We already took the ratings way down on this show.
But you could tell there's ladies of the night that were working. They were either offering us services, but then at times we got responses back Like one was up and down. That's all I do. And then my male voice goes, "Want some? Do it." You know, and
oh wow.
And then it was a perfect time at this place. There was a siren outside going by, and I had my badge and empty gun, like I was undercover, and I had paperwork in my hand. I was just waiting for the right moment. And so the siren goes by. I'm like, "Here's my boy, search warrant. I'm going to find your money, find your safe, take your money, blah, blah, blah." And I got, for the first time ever, F-bombs from the other side. It's like, "We're effed. You got to be effing kidding me. You're effing dead." Now, I don't know if that was to me or to someone else, but it could be he's threatening me since, I'm supposedly raiding him. It was unbelievable. That was such an eye opener because that's the first time I ever got swear words from the other side.
We're losing Dave.
Oh, I'm freezing up. In my back?
You're good.
You're freezing and buffering and.
It's one of those days, guys.
It might be the spirits here that don't want me to give out their secrets.
Yeah, it could be.
That has happened before.
Yeah, we've had interruptions and interferences on our show many a times.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I got F-bombed too. It kind of throws you off a little bit because my name came across first because I was in a different room and like just outside of where they were doing the session talking to somebody and they came out and they're like, "Hey, they're asking for you specifically." And so I went in and I was like, "All right, I'm here. What do you want?" And they go, "Fuck you."
It's like, thanks.
You pulled me away for that.
Yeah, actually, the first time I heard the F-bomb, I actually had to say it through Estes method. That was fun.
Wow.
It's like, what?
Oh.
It's like, God damn it. Through Estes. So it's like,
that's great. Yeah.
That would have been a fun place to do Estes method.
Yeah,
some of the colorfulness of what was going on.
That is so wild. So I actually have to. Am I still going pretty
You're
well,
good.
guys?
Keep going.
Okay, good. I'm gonna ask my question before I freeze again. Talking about equipment, what's y'all's favorite piece of equipment to use?
Oh, that's a very good question.
Yes.
His badge.
Now he froze.
Oh, I froze again? Man.
No, you didn't. You're good.
Okay.
I think it's just Matt.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No, I'm here.
Yeah, I didn't use their Wi-Fi. I unplugged someone's computer and then went on their network, so hoping I wouldn't freeze.
Oh,
You're good.
You're good.
So,
okay.
But we have just about everything you see on TV. I think it's so easy to get DVPs that might be my favorite. Either voice recorders or ghost boxes, spirit boxes, but I like everything recorded. I like to see what people are doing, and if they're doing EVP session, I like to see what everyone's doing and making sure they're not making a noise or if they're moving their mouth where the voice is coming through or something. But we basically have all the meters that are out there, all the EMF meters, all the specialty devices. I don't know.
Yeah, I think when we're doing the investigation, it's kind of like it's all inclusive. It's like we want to cover it as much as we can, just so we can prove it. We can debunk what happens, or really put out the best kind of video together with all the evidence. But the full spectrum camera it blows me away. Dave's gotten a bunch of photos with that. We've got a great one on an investigation that I was with. It's really hard to say like one specific thing, like Dave was saying. It's all inclusive.
Yeah, depending, it could be in one location, certain things work. Another location, it doesn't, then you go to plan B or plan C and see what equipment works. But there's some stuff out there, I feel like I probably wasted my money. I still won't get rid of it yet, but I won't count it totally as evidence. I got to get a couple things with it. If it, like the SLS, there's so many false positives with that. I got a couple times that blew my mind. It was amazing. There's no way it could have been fake. But I don't trust it because there's too many false positives. Now, if you get an EVP, your meters are going off the same time, and then you put that all together, okay, maybe you have something. But there's a lot of things that if it goes off, you really got to look into it. Unless something throws your SLS across the hallway, then that's which happened. Which happened.
Whoops.
No, it was brand new.
No, it wasn't me. No, it was
no. We were at we was in Wisconsin. What was the name of that hotel? The Karsten Inn.
Karsten Hotel.
Yeah. And we got some really good hits on it. It was really amazing. And I think this is when back when Ghost Adventures first started using it on TV. I was lucky enough to get one before it became famous, and we were getting but this was the old style. We had to hook it up to the laptop, and everything was separate, so it was on a tripod, and we really got a good hit with it. It was really good with some EVPs with it, and I think the spirit got mad. We went back up there, and I brought a female investigator this time, and we're in the room setting up, and our DVR cameras, night vision cameras in the hallway caught it, but it flung and did cartwheels and hit the wall right across. Someone hit it so hard. I thought it was broken. I come out, oh my God, I just got to spend all this money. And, and so I'm picking up pieces from the ground, and it was hit so hard it disconnected from the tripod. But it did actual cartwheels as it's going across the hallway. And I wasn't there for that, but we went back another time. We went there, and those hallways were probably 8 feet wide. It's not like your typical hotel hallway where it's 3-4 feet, 5 feet wide. It was 6 to 8 feet wide. So when I saw the video of that, it just didn't fall. It crashed. It went flying 8 feet probably. It was
it's got to be something with those SLS cameras, because mine got attacked too. I was in a house where we had a lot of problems with things walking up and down the hallways. So I hated carrying that stupid thing around, because mine is like yours. It's the older style. So, I don't have the laptop. I have a tablet connected to it. It's got the tripod and everything.
I have all the updated ones now.
Well, of course you do. Of course you do. But I had mine. I like to set mine up in places, and I'd set a screen recorder on the screen, so that way I could just set it and just let it do its thing.
Right.
That way, because it's so easy when you're moving around with it to trigger those false positives.
Exactly. That's a good key to that. When you leave it steady and you pick something up, that gives it more credibility than
exactly. Yeah. And so I had it sitting in this hallway, and I let it sit up there. I usually set it up there for like an hour and go up and check it, and and then usually by that time the battery's pretty well shot and you have to fix it or recharge it. But I went up there because I had forgotten something, went up 5 minutes later, and the thing was completely shut off. Like within 5 minutes, every part of it was shut off. The switch was turned off on the battery pack, everything. And it took me 2.5 months to get that thing to turn back on.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
2.5 months?
It wiped everything. I had to re-download all the software, everything.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
But the tablet wouldn't even turn on for almost 2.5 months.
And then one day it just, okay, I'm going to work.
Yeah, one day I tried it again. We were at an investigation, and I went and just to check it, because I still charged it for everything we went to after that. And I'd get there and try it, I'd see that the battery charged like it usually did, and go to turn on, it wouldn't turn on. And then finally one day it did, and I couldn't use it because there was nothing on it.
Oh, man. Exercised it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So they don't like those.
Buyer's remorse.
I tell you, the one time I used it and it failed on me, I was so pissed, because this was the best this would have been awesome evidence. We were doing a residential place way on the south side, and it was actually a city inspector's home. It took him a lot to call me out because he was very nervous on this getting leaked out. But they kept on seeing a figure down in the basement. It would go from the basement up to the kitchen and stare. And it started out the 4-year-old little boy would see it and then run to the parents and be scared. But it was very skinny and dirty looking. They don't know if it was a soldier or someone that worked the railroad back then, but on the hat, I remember them saying it was almost like a cross. Maybe I don't know if it was old rifles or maybe the old railroad had some symbol like that. But anyway, right in that area, we were getting EVPs, and we had a psychic medium that picked up, he's here. And then next, right in the doorway of the bathroom down there, the figure came, on the SLS, and we entered it, and it starts climbing the wall, and it hung like I can't even describe it, like a gorilla or monkey on the side of the wall, and it's waving, and it swung from one part of the ceiling to the other, and then it started going up into the ceiling. And we're like, don't leave, we'd like to talk to you. And it like crawled back down, stuck its head out and waved, and then it was gone. I've never ever seen that. And plus, and then the system failed, it didn't record, and it's like it got nothing. But that was awesome. I mean, that threw me back because I thought it was garbage. I paid all this money for it, and then I was getting all these false positives, and then boom!
Wow,
100% real. That was unbelievable. But I tell you, the way it bent down, it would be like a human or an animal, and it's like nah, and then up to the next floor.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Brandon, how about some questions?
Matt, what would you say your favorite place you've investigated is?
I really like the I'd have to say the Carson Hotel in Wisconsin, where the really cool, yeah. I mean, it was just so cool. I mean, we got the opportunity to spend 2 nights there, and I had some good experiences. Saw a shadow figure, had a giant ball of light. It was actually kind of cool. We were doing a group EVP session in a hallway, and I thought it was my eyes playing tricks on me when a shadow crossed in front of the door, and the guy standing directly in front of me also reacted, and he turned to me, and I'm like, yeah, I saw that too. So we immediately went in the room, and we were trying to reenact it, and basically it would have had to have come from out of the wall, and then across the room to actually create this shadow on the doorway where we saw it. And the time we did this investigation, it was February, and it's basically like that. It was pretty close to Green Bay, Wisconsin. So I mean, it was a ghost town. Everything was shut down. There was no traffic outside. No foot traffic outside. It was like, so me and this guy Joe go in the room, and we try to figure it out. And in the corner of the room was like this. It's almost like a light bulb flash, like the size of a basketball. And I'm like, I couldn't make any sense of what that was. So that's probably one of the coolest experiences, as in, seeing with your own eyes. That's always, I mean, for me as a skeptic, I'm like, that's how I want to see it. I don't want to see it on an SLS cam. I don't want to see, but that one just kind of blew me away. It's a cool place.
Nice. How about you, Dave?
The Congress Theater was really cool. I had some stuff made TV with going there, and that's one of my favorite places in Chicago. I've been lucky enough to get into some of the old police stations that were shut down, citywide. Got some really good evidence out of there. lot of it's police lingo. So we just did an old police station. When was that? Was that
November?
October? November. Yeah.
November. Yeah.
And it was an old Chicago police station, but I captured gunshots before, residual gunshots, unexplained voices. Like I said, some of it's police lingo, like you're late for roll call or something. Maybe I'm in the old locker room, or I might be in the area of where they would pass out walkie-talkies and car keys and get a voice. They must be looking for a car, and then we caught 6 shots and a voice from a lower area of the police station. I found out from old timers, they used to have a gun range. I caught 2 shots, a voice, 2 shots, and 2 shots. So, back then they had the 6-shooters, so it makes sense. I've been able to get into some of the old hospitals that are abandoned. And like I was lucky enough to get into the old Cook County Hospital. I don't know, you being in Chicago before, have you ever heard of that?
Mm-hmm.
Like what was it, the TV show ER? I think it was that used to use that.
I think the credits or the opening scene or whatever was from.
Yeah.
There, yeah.
I tell you, I had a man up. I had to go in there alone. It's just weird. I've been trying to get in there for years, and I had an opportunity to get in there because I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but the foreman was getting reassigned, and he gave me a walkthrough for 20 minutes the day before, and I captured 5 EVPs, which is I was on duty, myself, my partner, and then the foreman for 20 minutes, went down by the morgue and all kind of stuff. And all I had was my phone. So I downloaded the audio, listened to it, and I caught 5 voices. And I went back there the next day, showed the foreman. And he was about a 55-year-old guy, and he's scared to death. He's like, man, I didn't want to go in there to begin with. And so he goes, Dave, if you could get back here in an hour, he goes, they're reassigning me. I'll let you in there for 4 hours and lock you down, lock you in there. So I raced, got off duty, raced home, got equipment, raced back. But I was nervous, not just like ghostly stuff, but, I don't know if a homeless guy snuck in there and I'm going to go face to face with him in the dark, or I'm sure
that place was huge. Else. Yeah.
But I got some good EVPs, some good evidence out of there. And one investigation means a lot to me, which I just can't put out on social media, at least not yet. But one day I'd like to do a documentary with the evidence we got from there. But you're talking about the airport. I don't know if you heard back in the day in 1979 with Flight 191 went down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I got some outstanding stuff from there. I can't put it out there yet. But I got victims. One, I believe, gave me her seat assignment. 9G, Anna Harrison. I've been trying to work with American Airlines to get the flight manifest. Right now, I just won't give it up, But I got these victims, some of them coming through. And what is so cool, this is the first time, you always hear, not only there's, human entities or human spirits, but, you hear about animals. Mm-hmm. Well, that area, not only the crash site, but there's the police canine training center, and there are a lot of their dogs back in the day they buried on the land. And when we're out on that field, like right next to us, you could hear a dog bark. Like, man, did you hear that? There was a dog right next to me, and we all heard it. And then we got it on some of the recordings, and it sounded just like a deep German Shepherd bark. And so we brought it back to the trainers, and they're like, yeah, it sounds like a German Shepherd. But it was, I mean, it's sad with all the fatalities, 273. My goal was, because it's all under construction, the state has most of the land, and now it's going to be a busy expressway route from the expressway right through the plane crash site, another way to get to O'Hare Airport. So it bothers me. So I've been trying to cleanse that land and move on to any willing spirits to move on,
I'm surprised they don't make that like a monument site.
Yeah, they made like a memorial, but it's like a mile and a half down, not even close. But yeah, that land means a lot to me.
Wow.
I'm hoping CPD still has part of it left. They lost a lot of it, but I'm hoping I can get in there one last time. Just if there's still anything lingering, because there's not only that, but you have a lot of fatal accidents along Higgins and Toohey Avenue there, and a lot of fatals. And then a lot of the mediums that I dealt with that did walkthroughs for me, they say these spirits are, they're pissed that might cause more fatalities, within that area. But the one female that the first night I was there that came up to me and gave me her name and I believe the B or C assignment, I think that's all she needed to say, and she never came back because I played her voice for her. I said, "Anna, we heard you. We got your message," and oh man, just talking about it.
Yeah.
Sorry, but 30 of them never got identified. So we kept this number 30 kept on coming up. Like for instance, through the spirit box and through EVPs, like how many are still here, how many didn't move on, blah blah blah. I'd give this speech, and 30 keeps on popping up, and I'm thinking this 30 is the 30 that never got identified. Anna Harrison was one of them, and when she came through, she never came through again. I kept on trying to talk to her and said, "Anna, we heard you. We got your message. This is how we could identify you." And I think that's all she needed because she never came through again. And then I finally got I wanted to talk to, the captains, the pilots, and one finally came through the last time I was out there. Actually was on Halloween, but not about a year ago. But anyway, I kept on explaining to him that it was proven this crash wasn't your fault. There's nothing you could have done. I said they had reenactments and they went through everything. And if you feel guilty and that's why you're still here not moving on, there's no reason to. And whatever I said. And I believe I spoke to Captain Lux. He was the main guy there because I knew he wasn't supposed to work that day. And I said, you did a coworker a favor. You took his flight. And I said, I know you live in Arizona. And he came back and said, Phoenix. And I said, I know you have a summer home in Wisconsin. And he said, Wisconsin. And then I said, whatever I said about feeling guilty, about moving on. And the first time ever I got a voice possibly talking about the other side. He goes, I crossed. Now, what do you think I crossed would mean? I believe it would be crossing over. But I mean, I can never say that 100% sure. But he's probably like, Dave, leave me alone. You're a stalker. I'm fine. I crossed over. Leave me alone. but that investigation is just so meaningful.
It's very powerful.
And we got a lot of stuff. I'm hoping one day I could give to some family members. I wish I could talk about it. I don't want to get anyone into trouble, but I got some very powerful messages for if I could track down the families. Maybe one day.
Maybe.
But anyway, but that's one of my favorite locations, just to help.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't remember I wouldn't even imagine what it'd be like. That's got to be like kind of like the thing from back with 9/11 up in Pennsylvania. If anybody ever goes out to that monument or to that memorial out there, it's got to be about the same.
Yeah. My whole goal was just give them a voice if they had anything to say, and then do what I can to help them move on. So I had two mediums flying from Arizona actually, and to help me out. And I wanted to get back there in one last time, just to go through it one last time, and maybe to give the grounds a blessing, along with the help of a medium, just one last clearing. And but I haven't been able to get back in there yet. Sure.
All right, Matt, go ahead and top that.
Thank you.
That's amazing. All right. On such a powerful story. It's such, yeah.
it's
That's the ball game. Anyway, do you guys have any final thoughts, tips and tricks that you've learned of investigating that you'd like to share with the rest of the paranormal family?
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing is trying to keep silent, trying to keep, do your EVP sessions, try to keep it under control, keep the whole scene under control, trying to, you don't want any contamination. So definitely try your hardest. I know, like, everybody sniffles, everybody's got a little cough, and it's like you got to try to call those things out as they happen. And then just listen, and then use your equipment as a backup. Really just kind of be present in the investigation and take it all in. Do the best you can to set everything up for for the team, and then go with it.
Yeah, it's very important to have the control environment. It's key.
That's why, I mean, like, you talk about Chicago being like, all these areas that, I mean, so much tragedy with the mobs and the gangs and all that stuff, and a lot of those things it's impossible to investigate. Mm-hmm. Because of the, like St. Valentine's Day Massacre, it's an open field on a busy street. It's and then getting access to a lot of these places, these are busy locations that, life just keeps on going on. Speaking of that, we did have a really cool opportunity to investigate Lincoln Park Zoo.
I was hoping we'd bring that up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, does that have history? Yeah. We had no idea about.
It's unbelievable. It's Lincoln Park Zoo. It's right on the lakefront. It's a free zoo, and basically every time they were building something, they were finding bodies. And there was a woman who did all kinds of research. Actually, my wife tracked down a lot of the research for these investigations that we did there. We also were given tours of the location, doing haunted tours of the location. But basically, it's believed that whole area has about 10,000 bodies that are still buried there, unmarked graves. And you mentioned the Chicago fire earlier, and that's the cause of why there's so many unmarked graves. Because before it was Lincoln Park Zoo, I think it was 3 or 4 different cemeteries. Mm-hmm. Like Catholic, Potter's Field, the city cemetery, and they were, the doctor, I can't remember who it was. It's like, why are we burying our dead right by our water supply? Was basically like their concern. So they,
with all the diseases,
it's like right on the lake. So you have all these bodies buried, and here's your water, your drinking water. So they kicked in the process of starting to relocate these graves. A lot of them were marked with just like wooden crosses, wooden headstones, some regular granite stone, whatever. So they're relocating them out to like Rose Hill, Graceland, some of the more historical cemeteries in Chicago. And the Chicago fire runs through and just wipes out the whole thing. So any unmarked grave, anything that was marked with a wooden cross, that's gone. It just wipes all that out. So now you're left with, all these bodies, and then with all the displacement, it just gets forgotten about. They're just like, okay, we got to move on. We got to rebuild the city. And Chicago built on tragedy. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was a cool place to actually have access there. We had some really good experiences there.
What is so cool, and this goes back to the World's Fair you were talking about, because I was thinking about this when you were mentioning it. They had a 4-story bridge that went over the lagoon. And it was one way the people that live there could get
suicide
to the
bridge.
Route. Yeah, and then a suicide bridge. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of drownings in that lagoon.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. It just sounds like there's so much more to Chicago. It's
everywhere, to be honest. It is
really cool.
Well, then what? And there was
Yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I was just going to say there is the tiniest little plaque, like right in the middle of Lincoln Park. You would even notice it, like if you don't know where it's at, it's like, and that's like the memorial to like these bodies that are still buried here.
Oh, so tiny.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Lovely.
It was like Pamela Banyos was the, I think she was at Northwestern who did all the research on, tracking down like how many bodies are still there. She figured it was between 10 and 13,000.
Yes.
So, yeah.
We got good evidence from there too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, my wife got grabbed. Her leg got grabbed. Yeah.
Nice.
and she saw a shadow figure in the ladies' bathroom.
Hey!
The Lions House ladies' bathroom is very haunted. I can't believe
Yeah.
it. Maybe because it's so low into the ground or something, but that's one of the most haunted spots.
It's always
she went down
the
to the
ladies'
zoo.
restroom. Always.
We got there early. We were talking to a security guard. The zoo had been closed down probably for like an hour or so because this was like a members only ticketed tour. So me and my wife we got there early. We got to walk in. So we're hanging out by the Lions House and we start talking to a security guard who told us an experience that he had in the ladies' bathroom, because at the end of the day, they have to make sure everything's cleared out. And, so he's kind of calls out, he goes walking through and they're huge. It's like, the bathrooms at the zoo where they're like 30 stalls, I think, probably. Mm-hmm. And I think he was calling out and then he saw somebody down at the end duck into one of the stalls. So he goes all the way down there and he's like, what the heck is going on? And he's looking around and he can't find nobody. So I think, if I remember the story correctly, he's like, well, nature calls. So he's popped into one of the stalls and had to use the washroom. So they were using the washroom, and I think he got pushed, or like a what are you doing here kind of a thing. Like there was a lady there, and he turned around. There's nobody there. So I think shortly after that, she had to use the restroom, and so she goes down in there, and I stayed up top, and I hear her calling, Matt, and I'm like, well, I'm up here. I'm up 2 flights of stairs, and she had a shadow figure walk behind her. She thought it was me coming down in the ladies' bathroom. Yeah. So.
And on that wonderful note, we can conclude it's always the ladies' bathrooms.
Yeah.
Always.
I think you're right. I think there's something to that.
Yeah. Anyway.
So what's the best way to get a hold of you guys if people want to see some of your evidence or communicate with you or anything like that?
Our website, chicagoparanormal.com, Facebook page, Chicago Paranormal Investigators, Instagram, same thing, YouTube page.
We're everywhere.
Yeah.
You're everywhere.
Everywhere. Chicago Paranormal Investigators, and yeah. Just look it up on Facebook. It's probably
Look for the blue ambulance, Misty.
Yeah.
Misty. Oh wow. Yeah. There's so much here. There's so much to unpack.
That's another key.
There is another group on Facebook that's actually Paranormal Chicago, but it's like one of those Facebook groups. But ours is Chicago Paranormal. Yes.
Gotcha.
So.
You know what's key about Misty? I always envisioned it, and then it finally came true. But that's another way to have a controlled environment. Almost like the old ghost hunters, where they would split teams and people would stay in the van.
Yep.
And so with the ambulance and with the heat and everything else, air in there, you could split the teams and or even you have a client that wants to stay. At least they're not making noise or in the location. You got somewhere to put them. They can help watch the monitors, listen to the audio, take notes or whatever. So that's so key about Misty is, at least we got a controlled environment and, we can control who's in the building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I like the fact that you have an ambulance named Misty. That's just really cool. Well, gentlemen, we had a blast tonight. I want to thank everybody who was in the chat tonight for participating. And I see Ronnie and I also see Betsy. Hi, Betsy. Anyway, yeah, it's been a night. I hope everything comes out okay because I know I froze a lot.
That's all right.
Yeah, that's going to be
modern technology.
That's Brandon's problem, not mine. Anyway,
I tell you, I thought we didn't take too much time with the stories. We just had so
you guys are amazing.
That's the whole point of the show.
We want to hear from you guys. And on that lovely note, let's take us out, Brandon. Thank you for listening to the Para Unity podcast. And if you listen to us on Apple and iTunes, please make sure to leave us 5 stars or leave us a review, maybe a combination of both. We do appreciate the reviews. We do read them. And we appreciate your feedback because we want to make our show better. Right, Brandon?
That's right. And if you're an Android listener, you can follow us on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, or whatever the heck Google's calling their stuff now. So you never miss an episode. Like always, with Whitney's favorite thing, you can always get a hold of Alexa and say, Alexa, play the Para Unity podcast, and she will. Siri will not because nobody likes her. I'm just throwing it out there. It's probably because she's a White Sox fan. So just remember, if you like the show, tell a friend. If you want to be a guest on the show, or if you want more Para Unity, please join us on our Facebook or Instagram pages. And as always, if you want to help support the show, stop by our website and buy us a coffee. But my name is Brandon.
And I'm Whitney, and you've been in the best place to listen and bring your paranormal families a little closer together. The Para Unity podcast. So night, Para family.
Night.
Thank you.